Welcome to Spark Starter, the podcast dedicated to sharing stories that ignite female entrepreneurs into action. I'm your host, Elizabeth Goede, and I'm here to fan the flame of your entrepreneurial spirit. Each week, we bring to you the inspiring stories of women trailblazers from around the world who have sparked change in their industries, powered their ideas into thriving businesses, and pioneered their way to success. So, whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a startup enthusiast, or a seasoned business leader, join us as we delve into the journeys of these incredible women whose tales will surely ignite a spark in each one of us. Today, we have a guest who's wearing many hats. Tiffany Harvey is doing big things in the world of entrepreneurship. Hailing from Fort Pierce, Florida, Tiffany is not only a dedicated mother to her son, Jeremiah, but also serves as a commissioned officer in the U.S. Navy Reserves. With a bachelor's degree in agribusiness and a master's in business administration, Tiffany's academic background has laid a strong foundation for her entrepreneurial spirit pursuits. As the CEO of TLHarvey Investments, LLC, Tiffany masterfully manages two distinct ventures. Pick Your Sweet Poison invites women to craft easy, luxurious cocktails at home, fostering memorable moments and shared experiences. As a motivational speaker, Tiffany goes beyond inspirational anecdotes, delving into profound wisdom on knowing when to walk away, succeeding in the face of adversity, and extracting valuable lessons from life's challenges. But Tiffany's passion for empowering others doesn't stop there. She's currently working on an ebook with illustrations for kids, teaching them how to start a dropshipping company. This project reflects Tiffany's commitment to imparting valuable entrepreneurial skills to the younger generation. As a woman-owned business, Tiffany is a shining example of the incredible potential of female entrepreneurs. Her journey is a testament to the power of perseverance, innovation, and the ability to transform challenges into opportunities. Welcome, Tiffany, to the Spark Starter Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you today.
So, Tiffany, reading this introduction for you, you certainly are wearing a lot of hats in a lot of areas, and I absolutely love that. I think it really says a lot about your entrepreneurial spirit and the fact that a lot of people don't realize, but a lot of entrepreneurs, because of their visionary, right? Like they have all these ideas and things that they want to do, that it doesn't always sort of follow a straight line and do the same thing. So I'd love it if we could start back a little bit. And it was sort of like one of the first times I've actually seen a degree is agribusiness. Can we talk about what that degree actually is?
Yes, no. So I went to Florida A&M University. And honestly, when I got there as a freshman in 1999, I thought I was going to be an accountant. That's kind of I thought was my passion. The high school I went to, Fort Pierce, Westwood, they actually, your junior and senior year, they allow you to pick certain majors to start testing out. And I always knew I was good in math. Came so easy to me. So I knew whatever profession it was going to have numbers in it. So I say accounting. Took a couple classes. I was like, I enjoy this. So when I get to FAMU, I'm going to be an accountant. I'm registered as a business student. And I got there, and then I tried to go register as a business student in the business school, and I found that there was a waiting list. Oh. It was a 2-3 year waiting list. So technically, I was supposed to already apply before I actually got into college.
Oh my gosh.
So when I found out that I was on a waiting list and I would not even get accepted to maybe my junior year, I was like, well, what do I do for 2 years? And it wasn't even 100% guarantee that I was going to get accepted because the wait list was so long. It's FAMU's #1 schools for degrees. So during orientation, freshman year, they make you sit through orientation. They have all the different majors, all the different schools and everything come and speak. And I heard someone speak on agriculture business. That's like, wow, I get a business degree I can minor in economics, just take 2 extra classes, and I get to actually learn the beginning part of the business, i.e., how farmers are now introduced, how things are actually grown, where does the stock and the food really come from? Usually in business class, you're learning at the middleman stage. Things have already
Right.
been produced. Now it's your time to market it, sell it, find the customers, make the profit. But I actually got to learn the beginning piece and go all the way back from the farmers and things, how it actually gets produced and grown, and what is the cost to them, what are the rules and regulations that apply to them before it even hits our shelf, before it even hits the companies who want to sell it, market it, and it hits the grocery store. What does that process look like? So it was very, very fun. I got to take a botany class, which a food science class. Is there still certain foods I do not eat to this day after taking a food science class? But it
Right.
was so much educational, and it really has set the foundation to kind of where I am now. It's like almost a 360. I've come around, started this way, and I never knew what to do with the degree. But now looking back, it was really the foundation being laid to what I'm doing now.
It's really interesting for you to talk about sort of like where you are in the business process, and it's so fascinating. We talk about in our business that we actually work with entrepreneurs from sort of like cradle to grave, right? So it's
Mhm.
like from the time that they come up with the idea all the way through to when they decide to exit their business, whether that's through sale or going public or
Mhm.
getting new funding, whatever that stage is. And it's that inception piece, the original creation piece. People don't really realize how much goes into the innovation side of things. I love
Mhm.
the fact that you have that background. So fascinating. You and I can talk a lot about, I was originally a pre-med biology major. I took botany as well. There's a lot of fascinating things that
Yes,
happen when you
it is.
take these courses. So I look forward to carrying on that conversation
Yes.
later. So, okay, so you have this degree, you get this broad brush experience of really understanding where things are starting. And where did you go from there? Did you immediately sort of start to create your business from there, or did you do something
Actually,
else first?
no. I mean, I got that degree, and unfortunately, I was in school when 9/11 happened. And
Oh, sure.
so during that time, a lot of companies stopped doing internships. So I was unfortunately one of those students. I paid my way through school, so I could not take a internship that was unpaid. So I ended up graduating without having an internship, so no experience. So I could not get a job in my field at all. So I ended up working for Hertz Rental Car right after I graduated college. And luckily for me, I had a good friend. Her mom was military, retired Army, and she pulled me aside, and she's the one who planted that seed about coming to the military and telling me if you have a degree, you could go in any branch as an officer. I'm not military. Let me be honest. I knew what ROTC was. I stayed away from it. I was like, that's not me. I'm too girly. I'm too cute to put a uniform on. But when student loans now come to kick in and you have to start repaying back, you're like, oh wait, things starting to look a little different right now. So
Right.
actually, went to each recruiter, and the Navy was the one that was a better fit for me. And I ended up applying as an officer. And I actually got picked up as an NFO the first time. I was like, no, I don't want to fly planes. So I ended up applying again for a supply officer, which is the logistics, the money part of the military, and I got accepted. And I ended up coming in as an officer in 2005. So I didn't even think about even starting my own business or even thinking I could be an entrepreneur to really years later. And it probably was maybe around 2012, after me coming off active duty and coming into the reserves, moving to Maryland. That's when I was like, Maryland is very expensive. I'm not used to living in expensive states. I'm from Florida, lived in Texas, Norfolk, Virginia, still reasonably priced, but coming up here up coming more up north. I was like, oh, I feel broke, and I haven't felt broke since I was in college. So, now, don't get me wrong. I came off active duty, got a great job with the government. That's the reason why I stayed reserves. But I was just like, I'm not used to living paycheck to paycheck. That's when I started now looking into, what can I do for myself? And I tried a couple different things, and I tell you, it did not work. I tried selling knives. I tried doing a life insurance, passion parties. I was like, oh, let's just say I didn't think none of them lasted past 90 to 120 days.
Sure.
None of them just felt right.
Right.
None
Yeah.
of them.
So, there's a couple things. Number one, thank you very much for your service. I come from, all of the men in my family had been, for the most part, have been in the military. My husband, was in the military, and that is that's I know you did it for the purpose of sort of helping supplement and help with payback of your loans, but certainly there's a huge amount of sacrifice that you make in taking that path. So I just want to make sure that I thank you for that service. So what's interesting about the military is that they give a very strong foundation, right? I mean, they are very much teaching you, like, there is a way to do things. This is the way. They teach you a lot about sort of teamwork and trust, I think, are some other key factors, right? Like, they teach you about routine, they teach you about teamwork, they teach you about trust, because if everyone's doing the job that they're supposed to do, you don't have to worry about them, right? You shouldn't be necessarily micromanaging them.
Correct.
So it's an interesting foundation to have when you get out. And so it sounded like you tried a bunch of more direct sales types of positions, which I think is really common. I actually used to work on the corporate side of Amway, and we certainly had a lot of very, very fascinating military people, including, I think, like the second female pilot of one of those big cargo planes. Is it a C5? Why is that in my mind? Is that what it's called? Anyway,
it could be the C. It could be the C. Could be the C5.
okay.
The
Well,
big,
anyway,
large Army cargo planes.
yeah. And so I think even when people are retired out of the military, you're not making a lot of money, and it's an easy sort of like pick up, because it's, again, you follow a system, right? Like, it's a little bit like when you buy a franchise, it's all laid out for you. So you try these businesses, you're doing it for 90 to 120 days. You're like, this is still just not, like, I can't find my perfect fit.
Right.
So at what point did you actually start the TLHarvey Investments? Where did that come into play?
Yeah, so I had just had my son in 2018. And before I got married in 17, still living up here in Maryland. I was single at the time. I was like, you know what? Real estate. Starting to use my background, use the research to figure out what was really making people money, and they're not having to spend 80 hours doing it every week. And so real estate before COVID and everything was, flipping houses really was the big thing. If you watch TLC or, HGTV, everything was about flipping houses. And I was like, okay, I have family. They do construction. So why not go back to Florida and start flipping houses? So that's really where the TLHarvey Investments was supposed to be. But at that time, I started traveling more with work, the reserves. I was going back and forth to Bahrain at the time. So my work imbalance, at the time couldn't balance my schedule properly. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this on hold. I got married in 17, had my beautiful son in 18. And by the end of 18, I said, you know what? I'm ready now to get back in to restart. My husband at the time, he was an architect. He was a designer. So I was like, okay, this could be the perfect combination. I have the business side. He has the design side.
Absolutely.
And that's where we picked it back up, found a good realtor down there that willing to work with me, knew what my vision was, knew what I wanted to do in 19. And then something in my gut said, stop. And that gut was really God telling me, put this on hold. It's not the right time. And I didn't understand why. Every house I was pursuing, it kept falling through. Like the littlest things, nothing. I could never get anything going, even though it
Mhm.
was the perfect house, the perfect location,
Right.
the perfect
Right.
amount of money. There was just something continuing to stop. And once 2020 happened, COVID happened, but also I realized my marriage really wasn't as stable as I thought it was.
Mm.
And in June, beginning of June of 2020, my ex-husband at the time basically said, I want out.
Yeah.
He asked for a divorce. He bought a house all within less than 20 days. And I was just
Wow.
heartbroken. I was shocked to this day. I could not tell you really the reason why he walked away from me and my son. And the way he did it was really just devastating
Yeah.
blow to both of us, where we both needed therapy. Me and my son had to go through therapy. But I tell people that was actually the blessing in disguise, because now going through that pain and that
Yeah.
process, my friends came over and they now started to literally pour into me, and they started to see things in me I had no clue that was there. College,
No.
we drink, you have no money.
Yeah.
Somebody had to be
Yeah.
the bartender, and that was me.
Yeah.
Um, and so when they come over there, bring the food, I, have the house, I, make the drinks. And a friend of mine said, you make cocktails without using a recipe card. Had no clue, paid it no attention at all. She's like, this is your business. You need to look into see if you can make a business. So that's kind of where Pick Your Sweet Poison started in 2020, 2021. That's really, I really started to research, really started to see, can I make this a business? Do people
Right.
want, custom recipe cards? Do people want, online courses for me to teach them how to make drinks? Would it bring people together? And that was the first one. So that's where I started. TLHarvey was still there, but I started doing business ads under that called Pick Your Sweet Poison, which launched officially on Halloween, October the 31st, 2022, with my Pick Your Sweet Poison boxes on Amazon right now. Comes with over 60 plus recipes. We have expanded that to doing private parties, mixology classes. So that really was the start of it. Then I started speaking and writing in 2022, no, excuse me, 2023, when a friend said, you have something to tell. You have a story,
Right.
and people want to hear your story. And I was reluctant. Me, math was my thing. Science was my thing. Reading and writing was like, no, I got to say something in front of people. No, can you just give me the book and some numbers? Like,
Right. Right.
I was that person. So it was a fear, like literally a fear. It's like, I
Yeah.
gotta read, I gotta write, I gotta speak in front of people.
Right.
But with God and good friends, they pushed me and they encouraged me. And I released, I joined a devotional called Joy 365, where I kind of dived into writing, and I was one of the co-authors, and it was 365 authors, one for every day of the year. And my devotional was titled, I'm built for this. That was my affirmation that got me through, the pain of going through the divorce and everything. And that was kind of just the starting point. And then God said, I got another book I need you to release. And that's when I released Healing But Not Broken. It's an inspirational journal and
Mm.
workbook that kind of helps anybody who's dealing with any type of adversity. But I also share pieces of my testimony and the tips I use to help, overcome and
Yeah.
persevere and overcome everything. And then, as you can see, I got Becoming a Young CEO. It's being released next month. We're re-releasing it next month for teaching kids how to do entrepreneur online business and how to start. And then finally, this year,
No, no,
2024.
I want to dive into that one. I want to dive into that one because,
Yes.
certainly here on the Spark Starter podcast, we are certainly trying to encourage and inspire women to start businesses. I absolutely love this idea of building up entrepreneurial entrepreneurialism. Wow, that was a hard word for me today. Build that up when you're so young, right? Because there are a lot of pieces and parts that go in. And I love that this is an idea of a drop shipping business. So can you dive a little bit more into like where the inspiration for that
Oh
came
my,
from?
yes. So last year, as I'm trying to figure out how do you get your book released everywhere, online is what everybody's saying. Oh, online ebooks, online Etsy, Amazon, um,
Yeah.
all these Shopify stores. I'm like,
Mhm.
so when I started to research, I have to research. That's, like you said, my
Yep.
military, my background started kicking in. I'm a
Yes.
contracting officer by trade. So market research. And as I'm starting to literally go to YouTube and what books I can find on Amazon, I I'm gonna be honest, I need the kid version. I want the dummy down version. Give me the pictures. I'm a
Yeah.
visual learner. And there was nothing out there. I said, well, what is kids doing? There's no more lemonade stands. Kids are
Right.
barely cutting grass or shoveling,
Right.
sidewalks anymore. It's like, what are we teaching kids now today how to make money?
Mm.
And I couldn't really find anything. And that really surprised me. So I struggled starting my first store, which yes, I have Amazon, but my Etsy store really is for the entrepreneur, really for the mom, the dad, the pops, the kids to put their art designs out there. I struggled. It took me almost 3.5 to 4 months to really understand the process. And I just took notes. And a friend of mine again said, I think you found an area you need to fill. She's like, find a
Yeah.
need, fill the gap.
Yeah.
She's like, I think you
Yeah.
need to fill that gap and put something together for kids and the youth and
Right.
start teaching them how to now build their online business. And my son is 6 now. He could run a computer and a phone better than me. And I'm pretty sure anybody can say that about any kid in their household. So why not teach them? If you have a phone and a computer, teach them to now make money. They all have a passion inside of them.
Mm.
Why not let us like show them how to get their passion discovered by everyone around the
Sure.
world to buy, put it on a t-shirt, show them how to put it on a mug or, the bands that they like to wear or a hat. And it's also building confidence in them. We don't have to wait to where they don't have to wait till they're 30 and 40 like I was to start a business or even get the confidence or the encouragement. We could start
Right.
it at the ages of 7, 8, 9, and they could be making money. Parents
Right.
don't have to pay allowances,
Right.
make money for college, their first car, whatever it is, but it's really about teaching them and inspiring them and encouraging them like college is great, but college is not for everyone. Trade school is great, but it's not for everyone.
Right.
Let's show them another path at a young age.
Okay, there are just so many nuggets in there. It's just nugget after nugget after nugget. I mean, I would say that a couple things that I heard in there. One is you originally came up with this inspiration because you were looking for something that more so was teaching you in a way that you could understand. So it also seems like this becoming a young CEO could actually be applicable for people also that learn differently that don't want to just look at nothing but copy.
Correct.
Um, the second thing is, I think you're right. I think the days of lemonade stands, car washes, those types of things are just very different. And I think part of it's even just due to safety concerns, right? It's
Yes.
like you don't want your kids sitting out on the street corner all day without you sitting there with them. So I think that this is an awesome piece. And I think the third thing is the fact that a lot of entrepreneurs even talk about how school wasn't necessarily for them, right? And they've done big things, I mean, like Mark Zuckerberg didn't graduate, right? And so you look at these people who have really big ideas. I mean, why not let them get started at 6, 7, 8? And why
Right.
keep them from being able to do that? In the old days we had apprenticeships, right? That allowed us to follow our passion at a younger age. Even in Europe, the way that they do school is very different, right? You start pursuing sort of your passion or your next stages by the time you're 14, 15, or 16. You're sort of like getting into those specialized schools. So I just love the idea of this book. You absolutely will have to come back when it releases so we can
Yeah.
make sure to promote it here. Okay, so you have all of these different businesses, and certainly your speaking engagements, which
Mhm.
is great. And so, if people are wanting to get in touch with you, Tiffany, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
So you could find me on social media, of course, at Speak with Tiffany. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can email me at Tiffany Harvey at speakwithtiffany.com. I have my website, which is www.speakwithtiffany.com. You can connect with me on so many different ways. I mean, if you want me for a speaking engagement or just some advice, I am that girl next door that you can call, and I will always be here to help you with whatever you need.
Yeah, I love that, and I get that sense from you. I mean, it's just, such a giver, always looking for white spaces in the market is how we'd sort of refer to it from a marketing perspective,
Mhm.
and I love all the pieces and parts that you're filling. I love the fact that you sort of used a very unfortunate situation in your life to really sort of, catapult you into doing things that clearly it looks like you love. So
Yes.
Tiffany, one question that I always ask every guest that comes on the show is if you were to give one word of, or a short phrase of inspiration to another woman looking to start or grow her business, what would that be?
Oh, never give up.
Oh, I love that.
Never give up. You're going to have a lot of noise. You're going to have a lot of people in your ear. There are going to be days that look really dark and you don't think you can push through. It
Mm,
never rains forever. It's never dark forever. The sun has to come out and shine. So if you are following your passion, don't give up on your dream. It will come to pass.
yeah, that's really, really beautiful. That's really beautiful. I can see why you're an excellent speaker. And Tiffany, I just want to thank you again so much for being here. Is there anything else that we didn't cover today that you would want to make sure that another female entrepreneur sort of heard or knew about you?
So yeah, so as we are diving in and I'm diving in teaching our youth, I'm also trying to help us, the adults, the parents, to leave a legacy for their kids. So TLHarvey Investments is really all about helping small businesses who wants to get a government contract, either that's federal, state, or local contract. That's kind of where the military and the government has been training me to do for over 19 years. And this year, starting January 2024, I really took TR Harvey and built it into a consultation company to help small businesses really launch their careers by winning government contracts. A lot of people just don't know the government awards over 6 point something trillion dollars last year in awards, and over 60 billion went to small businesses. But we are always looking for women-owned business. There is not that many women-owned business, and because we just don't know. So my
Right.
company and my consultation company is really about hand holding you and walking you through the process, teaching you and empowering you and helping put you on the right path for success to help you win a successful government contract. It's not about, hey, go buy this and we turn you loose.
Right.
No, we're with you from the beginning to the end, like you said, to the cradle to the grave. So if you want to reach out to me and want to start building that legacy for your family to be able to leave a inheritance for your kids, you can find me at tlharvey.com. That's www.tlharvey.com. Go on there, book a consultation call, and we could start now building your small business up into a successful business by winning government contracts with my favorite and secret blueprint I have put together for you all.
That is fantastic. And Tiffany, I'll be sure to add these links into the notes later because that's so much goodness. And how are we going to skip over that entirely? That's the most amazing part of the business. So I'm so glad I asked that last question so that we can dive into that, especially because we talk so much about the military and the government, and I love bridging those two things together.
Thank
So I
you.
want to Thank you so much, Tiffany, for being here and being my guest. I want to thank all of our listeners who have joined us today on the SPARK StartHer Podcast. It's been my unique pleasure bringing you the inspiring stories that ignite female entrepreneurs into action. I've been your host, Elizabeth Goede, and on behalf of all the awe-inspiring entrepreneurs out there, I encourage you to not only dream big, but to ignite those dreams into action. Remember, every spark can lead to an extraordinary fire. So keep the spark alive for today, tomorrow, and the vibrant future beyond. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to never miss a spark. Until next time, stay ignited.